Today in the class we'll get into the introduction of Oracle Apex, which is Oracle Application Express. Using this particular tool we can build web applications like which can be developed in a very fast manner. That is the reason even this tool is called Rapid Web Development Toolkit. Okay, so before we get into more of the Application Express concepts or like Apex concepts, let's try to understand uh, what it is mainly. So it doesn't need any software to be there, but from the client's point or the developer standpoint of view, all they have to do is like they have to install the software in the client's machine, not in the client's machine, in the server side. It's directly installed over the database. So you don't want to worry about any software privileges or anything. All you have to do is like you need to have access to the URL where uh, this particular listener can be hit. That's we can get into those very deeper over the time of course. But right now I would say like you need an access to the Application Express URL with a workspace name where you will be developing the application, and you need a username and a password. Like these are like default credentials that are necessary to start developing applications. So instead of installing on your own machine, you can take advantage of Oracle hosted environment for Apex. It's apex.oracle.com. You can go and sign up. It's a free of cost for development purpose only, and that is not they don't support like having critical information or any production related informations. So let's get into the Oracle Application Express. So I have been to apex.oracle.com and I'm going to sign in. I have already created one workspace for myself. That's the Apex application, my username and my password, and click login button. So once you get into the application, like once you get into the Apex, so you can see mainly four components here, like application builder, SQL workshop, team development, and also an administration. Being a developer, you don't want to worry about administration or either team development. Mainly you have to focus on few things. One is application builder and SQL workshop. This is purely like SQL workshop. It contains object browser and SQL commands that are mainly used for like viewing the tables or creating any DDL scripts, or if you want to run some SQL queries you can use SQL commands, or for testing any procedures packages. But you still have the access from SQL developer or either PL SQL developer or some Toad, those type of tools. Also you have access to the schemas, so you don't want to worry about SQL workshop. Go to the home. Once you go to the home, you can see application builder. This is the main area where we will be start building applications. So go to application builder and you can see some applications I did already build. But in this demonstration, we'll see how to create a basic application and what all the things we have to take care when creating a basic application. And in the down the road tutorials, we'll see like how we can add pages and content to the web pages. Let's go create a simple base app and see what all the components the basic application would have, and also navigate through some of the components of Application Express. In order to create a base application, click create button. So once you click the button, you have like what type of applications you want to create. You have database application, web-based web sheet applications, and a packaged applications. So mainly we'll be focusing on the database centric applications. So when you say database centric applications, that means you're trying to hit, or you're trying to directly talk to the Oracle tables behind the scenes for storing the data or running any of the packages or procedures. So you have to make sure when you say database centric, you're developing the application using more on SQL and PL SQL side. And this is one of the unique identifier that is being generated by your system. If you want to change, you can have your own identifier within your workspace, and you can give a name to that. So I'm giving like demo purpose, and sometimes the workspace might have an access to single schema or multiple schemas. So that is the reason you have a drop down here. So if you have like access to some other schemas and you can decide on which schema to be selected when you're building application. For example, you have like two schemas where one schema is like having like 50 tables, another schema is also having 50 tables. But when you're trying to build an application, it's always a good idea to build the applications where you would, when you for that application, which tables you're going to refer more and more. So if you select that one, that would be much easier. So it doesn't make much difference as long as the workspace have access to those schemas. So you can select one of the schemas that you want, and by default say like include homepage. And with the 4.2 version, you have like two versions, like desktop version and mobile and jQuery mobile smartphone versions. So right now we are focusing on desktop versions. Click desktop, click next. As you said, like include homepage, the homepage is already added, and you can add multiple pages from here. But once the base application is created, we can add multiple pages, so we shouldn't worry really about adding pages at this point of time. So let's click next. And when you're building a base app, like you would not copy any of the shared components from other applications. Once an application is built, you can copy like shared components from other applications. So you shouldn't worry about this now at this point of time. And like authentication, right now we're going with Application Express, but it depends from company to company. And with the one level of tabs, you have like two level tabs or one level tabs. So we're going to select one level tabs for simplicity here, and like leave all defaults as is. Click next. And here you have a list of themes. You can select, like from all, you can select whatever theme you want. I'm just going with 23. And like once you click create button only, an application would be created in the workspace. Click create button. And when you say create application, so an application is created. So when an application is created, it defaultly creates a login page. That's always one at one, and it's a reserved page ID. So if you want to run the application, I'm opening in a new tab. So as we said, enter the application can be executed using Application Express credentials. I'm going to provide my credentials and click login. Once you log in, you can see like the web page. You haven't done anything. You just created a simple application by just adding one single page, and this simple web page is being created. Not web page, a simple application with a web page, like a single page is being created. And a default tab is that you just like add everything declarative type. This that pretty easier, and you can build applications depending on your skill set as fast as you can. And let's see what all the components is being created. So there are many components. So from the front end interface, if you're looking, you can see like in the bottom there is a toolbar, right? Like home, application, edit page, create, session, caching. That's particularly called as developer toolbar. And you'll slowly get to know once you start working on the application side. And let's get behind the scenes. So like we just added one particular page called home page, and this page is you can see all the pages like this within an application. If you click application, any of the page within the application, you have these components mainly. Like any page, anytime all the components, like in anything that would be displayed to the front end user is being developed or designed or developed within this particular page, what you're seeing on the screen. And a page mainly is broken into three sections. One is like page rendering, that is like everything would go here, how a web page has to be looked when the page gets rendered, whatever you want to see on the screen, that everything goes into the page rendering. If you want a report, if you want some buttons like text items, text areas, or some images, whatever, or any links, so whatever you're going to define, whatever you think you want to see, you want to show to the user on the page load, that everything will go into the page rendering. And in the page processing, when a user takes an action, when a user clicks something, whenever you want to post some data from the form to your backend database on button clicks or anything you're going to do, that will all happen on the page processing section. And the shared components is like I have a tab, like we define one level tabs, right? The tabs, the tab is not just for one, even though the page directs to one particular page, I need to see that particular tab across all throughout my application for navigation. And like there might be some other components like a list of values, LOVs. So I want to share that across the application. I don't want to create for each and every page a set of LOVs, list of values. So there are like some common components that are to be shared across the application for reusability. For those instances, like what are the common components that I'm going to use throughout the application, that all would go into the shared components and that are used throughout the application. And within the application, you can see like, run application means you can run the application, supporting objects. If you want to build any supporting objects, you can do that. This is for exporting a file. We'll come to that point later. The shared components, this is very crucial one. You have to keep focus on this. Like when we spoke about before, like shared components, right? What all the components you can see on the screen, like that is all shared across the application. There are application level items, application level process, application level computations, web services, data, and tabs, lists, breadcrumbs, navigation bar entries, authentication schemes, authorizations, session state, security, themes, templates, LOVs, and all like report queries, layouts, images, files. These are all like very common things that are shared throughout the application. These are not confined to just one single page. This can be used across entire application. That is why this particular section is so important. If you want to define some process that can be called from any page, you're not going, because if you write one PL/SQL process on one page, that particular PL/SQL process is confined just to that particular page only. Like for example, I had developed one PL/SQL region or a PL/SQL process on page 1. I cannot see that process on page 2. But I don't need that process on across all the pages. But there are some times here, like for example, just giving a client ID, I need to pull up all the client information. And sometimes I might need that functionality on multiple pages to show the client information across multiple pages. So for that, I don't want to write the same process across 10 different pages. For that instance, what I would do is like I would just go and create a application process. It's defined in the application process area and it's only defined once, but I will be calling that application process from 10 different pages. Just will make a call, that's it, and I'll get the information by passing the client ID. That's very simple, right? So I don't want to define 10 different processes. One process is suffusing, just surviving all my requests. So that is like whenever you want to make sure, like you want to see these applications, some of the process or entities or computations items that are to be shared across the application will be going to the application shared components. So this is very important. And coming to the page, when you come to the page, here you have like utilities. Utilities is like you can check, clean, or log the page, delete, history, export, caching. They're like several of the options available, and if with the create, you can create a new page, a new region, or page control or shared component. Like you can also go into the individual objects and also create. So when we say about page rendering, you can also create a new page from here, or like click a new region. When you click here, it will show all the types of regions that are available. The types of regions available is like HTML, or you can create multiple HTMLs, SQL reports, forms, plugins, charts, maps, trees. There's a wide variety of regions. Because like imagine this web page, you cannot just write directly anything into the web page. Imagine this is just like a book. Imagine just a single page, like page 1 is like a book. And if you want to write something into that book, you need to have some pages. You can feel regions as a pages and that are executed sequentially. Like executed sequentially means that are displayed on the page in your book, like in the pattern they're defined. If you have region 1, region 2, region 3 sequentially one after the other, the contents within those regions, region is like a page means like the contents all would become like the material within that page. So those will be displayed in the order of the region that is being placed. And to the very important point, any of the, like let's say we are going to create one simple HTML region. It's just a plain canvas, and select HTML again. And I'm saying like, demo purpose. And I'm giving, like, you can select multiple templates here. Let's get into that templates topic later. And if you click here, because why I said click here means here, like this particular region I'm going to create can be placed in any of the position. So what happens when you place your content in the position means when I click the torch icon, this particular layout, a particular layout is displayed here, right? So because the headers and all these positions is all confined already. One second. As this piece is already confined, so any content that goes into the region position 7 means if you create a region as here, and if here like in the display point it is a page template body 3, right? So it will be displayed here. But if you select region position 7, that means the content will even appear above the logo. And if you select region 8, it would appear above the cell, above the tabs, and below the logo. And region position 1, it appears in the middle. Region position 4 appears in the middle, and it will have like some alert messages. Position 2, and if you have, so when you say like, if you say for example create a region with a sequence 10 and put it in the position page template body 3, so it will appear here. But if you create one more region with sequence 20, and now I'm positioning it in region position 8, that means like the first, as I said before, like it appears in the sequence, but it takes the template rules, and in the template rules it will take the sequence. So page template 3 is page template body 3 is below the region position 8. So first region position 8 will be visible. Next page template body 3, that content will be visible even though the sequence is different, because you have to take the precedence of the region of the template of your application. Okay, and click next. I'm just like blank. Click next. Create, because there is a lot of conditional displays. I'll let you know ahead later, and refresh your page. I just created one HTML region called demo purpose, and that particular region is being created. Now I can place any region items here. If I want to create like items, like when you click this particular items, because I cannot create an item on a page itself directly, I can only create items within a region. So these are all the types you would think, like text area, select on any web application. Let's say I'm going to create a text field. Click next. So whenever I want to create a page item, so I would go in this particular pattern. First I would append P, which stands for page, and I would add a number that stands for the current page number that item is being created, underscore, and I'm going to start my name. Because if like even the pages, the one page is separated from another page, they have a unique index on the page items table. Like if I create p1 underscore name on page 1, I cannot create p1 underscore name on second page. For example, if there is no page concept, if I create an item called name on page 1, I cannot create another item called name on page 2, because this unique constraint applied on the page items itself. So if I say p1, so I'm the only owner of the page 1 and I have full control over that. If some other developer is working on page 2, he'll start p2 underscore name, and p1 underscore name is totally different. So I can take that advantage. So p1 underscore demo underscore item. You can have after P1, it depends on the developer. You can have in either pattern. Click next and this the label and click next. I'm going to just leave with the defaults create item. So when you create an item, if you refresh, the item is directly displayed here. So this is pretty simple, right? So I'm going to end this tutorial right now and we'll see you in the next class. Thanks.